pouring red nose and both my eyes. I've had cataract surgery. Okay. What the hell's going on? Okay, artery.
I will call the Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 Island City Council meeting to order. Janice, could you please call roll?
Hotland,
Here.
Councilmember LaFaine. Here. Councilmember Mitchell,
Here.
Vice Mayor Maida,
Here.
and Mayor.
Here. We have one closed session item, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Before we go into closed session, any public comment on this item?
Yes.
Hearing none? All right, we will go into closed session.
Did a lot of work. All right. Been a lot of work.
We're back from closed session. We had one item, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. The report house information was received and direction was given. Will you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which is one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's just for all.
Can I get a approval of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. We have no presentations. We'll take this time, no public comment, items not on the agenda. Anyone have public comment, items not on the agenda?
I'd like to make a suggestion to all you councilmen. This is about the grammar school. The county supervisor is talking about taking it over next year again, selling it. And I would really like to see you councilmen get together and make this a park zone. Zone it as a park, zone for a park. And it won't be worth crud, and we could use it at Howard Park if they ever did decide it, and if they decide to do anything besides to add to the school or anything, you guys could make an amendment and do it. You'd have total control of it then, instead of some developer getting it, and you wouldn't even know about it till it's too late. I just think that'd be a good idea. This second thing I'd like you to bring up is the sewer lines, this lateral stuff. It worked for 40-some years that the city took care of it. The city used to hook them up. I do not know why they changed it, I think in 92 or something like that, when we got a new planner, come up with the stuff that they come from the valley, which the valley people don't even go to a meeting, and these people vote this in and nobody knows about it. Why should we be paying for something when Amador Water, if their line breaks in the street, you fix it. If you, I mean, they fix it. If you breaks on your property, you fix it. I don't know why the PG&E same way. If you're underground, if it goes to your box, they take care to the street. If it goes to your house, you take care of it. I don't know why this got changed. And the other thing is the sidewalks. That changed in 1942, I heard. I looked it up. And exact LA County is the only county they took a vote on it, and they voted it out where you are not responsible, landowner's not responsible for a sidewalk. There's been people lose their house over this. City comes in, rips the sidewalk up because it's all rough, put it on their tax deal, and the people lose their house over it. If you look right now, the city will say that if your inspector comes out and finds a 4-inch lip in it, they'll say you got to fix it. And that ought to be changed. It ought to be the city's responsible for it. And I don't even have a sidewalk. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I don't see why the private people got to pay for this. You're here to represent the people, not the city, the people of the city. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, Marcia Edick. I have a few questions relating to the last meeting I wasn't here for. It was the September 9th meeting. I believe it was a special meeting. And I note that the minutes are attached to tonight's agenda. The closed session item we found out did in fact relate to irrigation of the golf course with accepting water from CDCR. And I'm happy to see that, of course, it passed 3-2. What I don't understand is how there were 5 votes. And I mention that only because, Mr. Mitchell, you have had to recuse yourself, or by choice, recused yourself for maybe the last 6 months on every vote relating to the golf course. And yet this particular topic relating to irrigating the golf course, there were 5 votes. And I saw through a Facebook post that it was 3-2. And then I see on the minutes that we know how people voted. That's another issue because I don't understand how that happened if the vote occurred in closed session and yet now the minutes show who voted and how they voted. So hopefully, the attorney, by the time I finish here, can address how it is that we can have city council members jump in or jump out on various issues and topics of a particular subject. And I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So the other issue relates to, I understand that 2 people did vote against this. And of course, the lease agreement between SGM and the city indicates that we are required to provide an ample amount of irrigation to the golf course. And if we hadn't accepted the CDCR water, there wouldn't have been enough water because I think a lot of us could see the golf course was drying up. So I would like to ask if there were documents, records, test results, or whatever that were relied upon by the 2 people who chose to vote no, and recent records indicating that the water is either potentially contaminated or hazardous to the public as a whole. If there are in fact such documents, when will those be made available to the public? Because I do want to stress the importance of the fact, and again, 3 people did vote for it. Thank goodness we're not involved in a lawsuit. But if we hadn't had a vote go the way it did, the likelihood is SGM would have filed a lawsuit for a lease agreement that was signed just a couple of months ago, requiring the city to provide an ample source of water. So again, I'm hoping that we can get some test results, some current test results, if in fact there is an issue with the water. And I want to add one final comment on that. I don't know any of the 5 of you personally, okay? But
You got
I
30
do
seconds.
know one thing for sure. And I cannot fathom the thought that any one of you would have voted to take water from CDCR if in fact there was positively records that indicated that water is contaminated or potentially hazardous. I don't think any one of you sitting up there would have agreed to take that water and potentially put our residents in harm's way. So I'm really hoping if there are records, show them. Validate your vote for no. And hopefully we can get an answer as to how it is that we
Your
had
time's up.
3-2. And Mr. Verinsky, if you could address the question about
Your
the
time's
5
up.
votes. Thank you.
Up to you, John.
Up to you, Josh.
I can respond briefly. Conflicts are first and foremost a personal liability, so it is ultimately up to the council members of if they feel like they have a conflict and they could be prosecuted for voting on something that they have a conflict, they are legally required to recuse. That was a decision that Mr. Mitchell made, I believe, to protect himself for a specific golf course contract that he lives on the golf course. That was the closed session item you're referring to was an anticipated litigation item. There are various litigation concerns related to the decision that the council made that was not specifically related to a grant of a permit or a contract, but a decision to protect the city overall from liability and its potential exposure to litigation. So it's not the same thing as the golf course contract. So there was no conflict there, but it's also something that the council members decide for themselves of when to participate.
Thank you, Josh. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Hi, I'm David Anderson. The vote the city council reported out of the September 9th closed session was supposed to be a meet and confer with Mr. Verinsky. Mr. Verinsky has indicated the action was to avoid potential litigation with CDCR. Once the action was reported in open session, the information provided to the city council must be disclosed so that the public can understand why an issue of public importance and concern can be decided in the dark of secrecy. Mr. Verinsky indicated the potential litigation threatened by CDCR, which required the closed session and not to identify the potential plaintiff was because there were issues unknown to the plaintiff. Those issues are now available for review by the public. All third-party documents must be provided upon request, which I have done. My request specifically excludes any attorney-client privileged information. Additionally, the reported action constitutes a violation of the Central Valley Regional Water Quality Control Board, making the action illegal and null and void. Mr. Atlan, in an earlier open session, made reference to a City of Ione quarterly groundwater report as evidence of the suitability of the wastewater in question. There was no testing of VOCs, which appears that Mr. Atlan was misleading the other members of the council and citizens of Ione. The Regional Water Quality Control Board has identified contaminants in the wastewater deemed hazardous and prohibited from leaving CDCR property. The issue of accepting CDCR wastewater invites civil and criminal implications for the city and the individuals that voted to receive the wastewater. There is no qualified immunity for an illegal act as a city council person. Several interested citizens are now investigating the incidence of reported cancer in the Castle Oaks neighborhood. It is a known fact that Amador County leads all 58 counties in the incidence of cancer. It may be likely that the data is skewed by CDCR's and CAL FIRE practices over the operation of those facilities. The full scope of the misdeeds of the state of California are currently under scrutiny and will likely result in serious repercussions for all involved. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I know you're going to talk about the pipeline thing later, but I don't want to talk about the pipeline. I want to talk about a comment that was made by a council member that corrections cannot send water to the Ione wastewater plant without prior notification. This is obviously not true from what we experienced in late spring, early summer, when Pond 5 is almost empty at the evening, comes back in the morning and it's almost full. A little bit of investigation, corrections had a problem, so they dumped, I believe it was a little over 2 acre-feet on Ione, which then had to dispose of it illegally in the town field, taking what was in corrections water and now putting it on your disposal. But let's just put that into the side and think about another thing. In June 15th, 2015, a man named James Maynard got up from his seat right there, staggered out that door in front of a room full of policemen, including an active duty sheriff's deputy. 40 minutes later, he kills himself and another person. Room full of policemen, not a cop in the bunch. But anyway, that's another thing, put that on the side. 2021, Sophia Myers bold-faced lies to Lori McGraw, telling her there are criminal sanctions for talking about what happens in executive session. No such criminal section exists. Now, point being is we have had some bad city attorney advice in the past, and nothing personal, okay? But your city attorney and your staff seem to be blissfully unaware that in 2018, 7 local wells along the prison were tested, and they all came back with some pretty serious chemicals, mine included. Now, all of the Regional has traced all of these chemicals to the prison industry facilities that are within Mule Creek State Prison. So when I hear that a prison industry authority employee is presenting evidence and actually voting on whether to take this water or not, it brings up a little question about conflict of interest. And he should not be allowed to vote. And again, it's pretty obvious. The report that I was told was cited is over 1.5 years old. So I don't think it's a big surprise that you're not going to find a lot of VOCs, because I don't think you were dumping prison water in that time prior to that. Now, what I don't understand is why we are not testing the sprinklers at Castle Oaks, the Mule Creek channel where it goes into the Silva property, Lake I, which you've heard about, and the inlet to the tertiary plant from the prison. These are the places that you're going to find the VOCs and the problems from this prison. Now, if I can help with the lady that was up here earlier, I believe it was 2023, we filed a notice of intent to sue the city of Ione. And if she's willing to go through the 400 pages of data that we gathered for that document, I believe all of her questions will be answered. Can I answer any questions or respond to any comments? Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Scully, that's C-U-L-L-Y.
He didn't say it's right.
Any other public comment?
I am going to speak to the same question or the issue that everyone is speaking, namely Mule Creek water. But I'm going to put a little bit of a human face to it. A couple, Rich and Sue Gonzalez back here, been members of this town for 26 years, have lived on the golf course for 20 plus years. One of their houses was one of the first built. Rich is suffering from a very, very serious form of cancer that came on a year ago, about the same time that this board, namely council members Ratton, LaFane, and Atlin, voted to take Mule Creek water, dispense it. Now, this is a cancer that is interesting in that there are only 12 known cancers of this type in the world. There's another individual who has an ear cancer that many of you know in this zip code that is 1 in 5, that there are only 5 in the United States. What can cause this? Well, since Rich gets his care at the VA, they sent him to active duty hospitals. And what they found was that he has been poisoned with 4 toxins that never should be found in the human body. So finally, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to look for those toxins in Mule Creek water. And when I talked with Dr. Kerr today, the chief of public health, she said she was certain, or you should at least be getting a report from Mule Creek on exactly what is in that water. And I'd be very interested to see the toxin list that they provide. So you're going to find, one way or the other, proof positive that this is not just volatile organic chemicals. I mean, those, I wouldn't let a kid play in the mud, which is what they do out at Castle Oaks. You've got, 2- and 3-year-olds playing in mud that's now being polluted with Mule Creek water. You need to find another way, but you're going to have more information very shortly. You're also going to have more lawsuits than you can imagine if indeed, and so will Mule Creek, if this really is the fact that they've claimed it's just VOCs, but it's really toxins that kill people. So that's about enough. Oh, incidentally, the VA, if you're older and you have any type of compromise of your immune system, tell you not to drink Amador County water. And that's AWA water. So these are real serious problems. And this board, I think, armed hopefully with not the information you needed, you can't kill your own people. That's basically your first job. And if you've got to let a golf course go brown until it starts raining, do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
I'd like to, this is Larry Caputo, 707 Shakely Lane. I'd like to clarify something that just went on here this evening. Has the vote for the disbursement of CDCR water made in closed session, has that been made public as to who voted for what?
It's in the minutes for this meeting.
The minutes say who voted for what?
It's illegally been made public.
Okay, that's what I know. Thank you.
No, that's Brown, that's Brown Act, that no secret votes.
In closed session.
Yep, we announced out in open session, no secret
We
votes.
did not announce who voted. We asked.
No, but we
were told
but
no.
we should have. We should have announced
We
out.
sh-
We
Yeah,
did.
there's a lot of things that we should be doing.
Go ahead.
Hey, it's Tommy Quinn. Thursday's my birthday. I'm gonna be 80. 80. Hey, woo-hoo. Yay. So listen, I've graduated from being a grumpy old guy to be a grumpy old guy. And what I'm talking about tonight is much less exciting than what you guys have been talking the past 20 minutes. I'm talking about traffic in this city and specifically people driving too fast and signage being completely wrong. And I'll give you an example. If you look at the front of the elementary school where it makes the left, goes out of town, there's a 35-mile-an-hour sign there. Now, technically, that road is not the road the school's on. There's a little road in between, but that's just a fig leaf. People come flying into town, go around that corner. There are no sidewalks there. And the sidewalks that are up here, I asked the city 2 years ago to take care of them because they're completely falling apart. And they said that Caltrans would do it next year. And that was 2 years ago. The kids are scrambling through there on the grass and trying to get to school. And people drive fast and don't pay attention. And they come into town. And when they turn off of Main Street up, half of them don't use their turn signals, so you don't know if you turn left there. I don't see, I heard that there's a new traffic officer. I've seen a motorcycle officer once a couple of weeks ago, but I know this is not nearly as exciting as the other stuff you talk about. A lot of you are grandparents, a lot of your great grandparents. If you have kids, those are your kids trying to go to school there, and it is crazy dangerous. And I'd like to see some work done on that. And, it's not very exciting, but it's certainly going to be exciting if one of those kids get run over. Up again by this school, you got the 35-mile-an-hour sign and you go out of town. And before you even get off the school property there's a sign that says, no more school, slow down, whatever the official word is there, right there in front of the school. And when you come into town, there used to be a blinking thing saying how fast or not fast you're going. That's covered up by another 35-mile-an-hour sign. This is nuts. It's nuts. And I'd really like to see the police get more involved with taking care of traffic in this town. I mean, people drive crazy. When they let go of the prison and it just packs down Preston Avenue, it's packed. And people don't drive slow. They just rock and roll, Come on, guys. I know you have more important things to do than child safety, but I find as a school teacher for 27 years, it's infuriating to see how people drive there. Okay? Happy birthday to me. Woo-woo.
Thank you, Tom.
To you.
I'm gonna say approximately, I'm gonna say 5 years ago is when I knew there was a problem with the water coming from Mule Creek onto the grass up there. A lady was telling us, we were at a social deal, and she was saying, yeah, my little dog got sick the other day, had a rash all over it and everything. And I said, where was it? Oh, he was out running on the golf course. And I said, did you take it to the vet? Oh, she said, I had to. And the vet looked at it and he said, oh, you had it out where all the, some farm on a cattle ranch? He said, no, he was running, or she or her, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, was a dog, was out running on the golf course. And he said, that's where the dog got the rash from, because the rash it had is from poop and all that, bad water. I forget what the name it was. And I said, would you please go to the city council and tell him? She said, oh, no, I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. They'll pick on me, she was an older lady. And I said, well, give me the vet's name. And she wouldn't, because I would have went and asked the vet, So that was my first encounter. And then the other day, we had a special meeting here for the 3 or 4 kids that had cancer over there. And, everybody recognized them. So then what do? We turn around a couple of weeks later and you vote on to put that poop water back on the golf course. It don't make no sense to me, because there's something wrong over there. And you know, it's none of my business, but a lot of people have cancer. A lot of young people are dying. A lot of people are losing their memory. I mean, it's got to be something over there. Because over here on my side, I haven't seen no kids with cancer. And when you spray, that disease goes airborne. Don't forget the wind blows and it could land on your yard. And we went over this, and they've had tests and everything. And even the water board told Mule Creek they could not let any water leave their property. So we got 3 councilmen. And I'm not going to say any more, but I know you guys were pressured by somebody. And they probably, congressmen, senators, or whoever probably got a hold of you and said, oh yeah, we got to have that water, get rid of that water. But you could never find out, but I found out a little bit. But like me, I live over on this side, but whatever you do not bring that water from Mule Creek over here to our park. Because then we're going to be in trouble over here. So, I mean, I don't know what the 3 of you were thinking of. They've been told, and I don't know what else you can do. People are dying over there from cancer. And people are worried about the price of their house. And if they find out it's polluted, you better hope they don't, because if you find out it's polluted, those houses will be worth nothing. You'll have to sue the state and the city to get your money. And that's happened in a lot of places, but nobody ever wants to talk about it or admit it, what's happened in different places. I could go on stories. People don't read nothing. They just see the price of their house. They don't care if people or the neighbors are dying or anything. I don't understand it.
You got 30 seconds.
And all I can say is, bless you 3 that voted on that. And I hope you didn't kill any more little kids or any grown-ups with giving them cancer, because you know that water's polluted. Because they've been told to put a treasury plant in there from the day they opened that, and they never have. And I've argued with those guys from Mule Creek, and they just look at you and say, we're going to give it to Ione. Thank you. And keep up the good work, you guys. Keep giving that polluted water out over there. And I hope you can sleep at night. The bad thing about that, if you know one of your little kids in the neighborhood got cancer,
Your time's up.
you're not going to be able to sleep at night.
Dave Johnson, Shakely. I had planned to say thank you, Jody, because the golf course looks great now. I don't know how cancer is getting to people. The water we drink, from what I heard from Amador Water, is coming from the McCollum River. So if somebody's rolling around on the golf course or something, and there's something going on, I don't know. But at least what we ingest, what we shower with, is coming out of the McCollum River. So the water that we're doing, I think, I really appreciate Jody on this last meeting, because I think we would have been in a hell of a lawsuit with the people that took over the golf course. I mean, you guys just signed a deal guaranteeing them water at $75,000 a year. If that thing browned out, I think we're going to be in a lawsuit. So however this comes out, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it, but it seemed like the right thing to do at the time. So if there's some report that says it's different, I'll go with that. I wanted to say thank you to Dominic for reaching out for the girls softball. We talked about that probably 4 or 5 meetings ago. They said that was the #1 thing on everybody's list to get done for here. We did do the arena. I went out there Saturday or Sunday. I saw the bleachers are there, the stuff's there. I'll help put it together if need be, but I'd like to know where we are with the girls softball. I know, I don't want to say names, city manager was asked twice to fill out the application. I don't even know if that application has been done. So I sent an email to Dan Epperson, and I know Dominic stepped out there. Jody, I would appreciate if we could get your support and the rest of the people's support on that too, because if Akron's going out of business the end of October, it would be nice to get an application in before they run out of money. When I checked with Dan, he still said there was money there, that we could still apply for it if it hadn't been applied for. I don't get answers, so you guys can probably ask if there was an application filled out and when, because we don't get the answers. The next one I had was basically what Marsha was saying. I wasn't sure how Jack could vote. on water when he lives in Castle Oaks. It's like he doesn't do it with the golf course. He does do it when he's going to tax people in Castle Oaks, even though he doesn't pay a tax. He's able to jump both sides on what he wants to attend and what he doesn't. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I thought I'd bring that up. The other thing is social media. I wanted to talk about, because I know it's been a stickler with you guys. You wanted to talk about what other cities are doing. There is metadata on this stuff. So when people are putting stuff up and slamming citizens that have nothing to do with the city of Ione, you can see who sent that to that person and they put it up. You got one gal on there that's under 4 different names now that's still harassing people in the city. You have another one, and I think Mia brought it up at the closed session, which their video's not out, so nobody can see it yet. But somebody leaked out that there was a lawsuit against Allison before the last meeting. And then another person said an actual dollar amount that's not published anywhere. So somebody's leaking these closed session meetings. And it would be really good, Josh, if, like I said, if you were on that call, that even though you have closed session, you're supposed to tell us what the topic was. You don't have to tell us what you guys voted, but we should know, because all this rumor crap is getting out there, and then they're taking shots at council members and citizens now that have nothing to do with it. They've been convicted of nothing, and they're putting their pictures on the website and just doing nasty stuff. So I just thought I'd bring that up too,
You got 30
because it's
seconds.
getting out of control. So that's pretty much all I had. I hope we can get this girls softball thing done. I think there's enough consensus there between the council members that we could get that done. The city, this deal has it on there now. We were waiting for this. That came out the meeting before last. I don't think there's any more excuses why we're not applying for that.
Time's
Thank you.
up. Thank you. Any other public comment? Items not on the agenda.
Good evening, Cody Gold, 410 Depot Road. I just want to take a minute to remind the council and the citizens that the school district is, the staff is still very much dead set on closing a school site in Ione. And it'd be appreciated if we could see this turnout from Ione tomorrow night at the school board meeting. They're going to discuss consolidation of a different model than the original one. But it still equates to us losing our 7th and 8th graders here in town. I know personally as a parent, I don't want to see my kids have to drive the dangerous Highway 88 for 2 more years than they already have to now without us having a high school here. And so anyway, I just would appreciate some support. It would be great to see some faces from the council and the rest of the citizens to support Ione and try and keep our kids in Ione. There is no decision being made tomorrow night, but it's a discussion item, and they're going to hear about why we need to consolidate because of the sports programs. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there tomorrow night. It's not at the county building where it usually is because of a scheduling conflict. It's going to be at the Jackson Civic Center.
At what time, Cody?
Closed session starts at 5:30, open session at 6:30. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cody. And we do support you. I do support you. And let's all get together on this. We're the biggest city in the county.
Yep.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Any other public comment? Got anyone on Zoom, Janice? Nope. All right.
I like,
Close public comment.
can I make a respond? I'd like to ask George a couple questions regarding softball. I think it's probably a good time. Let's do that.
During council comments.
I'm going to ask George a few things.
Stop the
Want me to ask you then?
Call point of order.
Oh, okay.
We'll give you your chance, Jody.
I just think it's be a good time to do it. But okay. Don't do it at the end. I think more people will be here.
Yeah,
It's been
hang in
brought
there.
up.
We can
Jody
move
can give us a,
comments to the front of the meeting.
all right. We already approved the agenda. Okay. Can we get a approval of the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull the minutes and the warrants for discussion.
Do we have a second?
It doesn't need a second.
Second.
Okay, go for it.
Do you want to put them on the regular agenda or just discuss them as they're?
Discuss it right now.
Okay. On the August 27th minutes, which was the budget workshop, I see a very lengthy discussion on an interconnect pipe that was not on the agenda. Again, Josh, more Brown Act violations by not agendizing topics, not giving the public due notice. It was by the city manager. It was quite lengthy. Also on August 27th, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to jump to September 2nd. The vote out from closed session. So at what point, Mr. Verinsky, did you decide to put the vote on the minutes? Because it was not announced when we reported out.
For September 2nd,
Yes.
9th.
The 9th.
Oh, you're right. It was the 9th. Sorry.
That was, I spoke with the clerk when they were drafting the minutes and we were getting a lot of questions and
Getting
That's-
questions from,
the public. But that's my view on the Brown Act, that we reported out that action from closed
Okay,
session and
because you
the vote should have
continued
been
to change
reported.
your legal opinion on what we report out.
Oh.
We have been in closed session, I don't know how many times, and said, let's disclose the vote. And we've been shut down most of the year. So now it's because it's a tender issue, there are certain council members that want their vote known. Because prior to, it was, we're not going to report it out.
Well,
So now is that our policy?
I don't agree with
Well,
that history, but when you report a final action, the vote should be announced.
so going forward, the vote will be announced from closed session.
Final actions.
Okay.
So for point of clarification, did I ever contact you to tell you that I wanted my vote known?
Sorry?
For a point of clarification, since it was said that some council members wanted their votes known, I would like it known that I'm asking him a question based on me, not on you. I'm not rough. I'm trying to ask a question.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
What I was asking you for a point of clarification to the public, did I ever contact your office saying I wanted my vote known?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, can I finish now?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on to, I have the September 2nd. The topic of bringing Weber Gio's contract back. The minutes say that it was at the suggestion during the meeting of city manager or city attorney Josh Verinsky, because Weber Gio had exceeded their $15,000 earmark for a scope of work. That was not on the staff report. It was not mentioned during the council meeting. That contract arrived back at council or appeared at council. No one knew about it. After the warrants were continually questioned, the warrants had exceeded $50,000 threshold. We were told that our city engineer, Wildan, had extended their contract and they were our city engineer. And then a contract appears and we actually have now two city engineers because Weber Gio's contract is for city engineering services. And so I would like the minutes corrected because it appears everything is going according to policy and you are recommending to bring the contract to council to approval when council never gave direction for you to draft that contract. So I would like the minutes to reflect what actually happened at that meeting. That's all I have for the minutes. I can move to the warrants.
All right, Bill.
And I got a question on the minutes too. I just want to reiterate that we have never called out the vote from closed session until this one item. I have no problem that my vote's known. I would have asked at the next meeting, which is this one, to have the votes. Would it be okay if the council releases the closed session vote? And I'm pretty sure everybody would say yes. And that's how it should have been done. Instead, it was done by, it's nothing more than a leak. Somebody leaked to the city clerk how the vote went and it got put in the minutes. It never should have been in the minutes until the council approved the vote from closed session. So we just had closed session an hour ago. Did we call out the vote? No. So I'm not accepting, unfortunately, your answer that that's how it's going to be for now. Now, if that's how it's going to be, we're always going to call out the closed session vote. I got no problem with that. Let's just do it from now on. But to pick and choose which votes you call out, because there was pressure, which was unneeded because we were going to let everybody know anyway. So we just got to follow the rules. We can't just keep doing something different one night and different another night. So I'm glad that from now on, we're going to call out the closed session votes from now to eternity. So I'm going to make sure that we do that. That's all I have to say.
And I'll just say one thing, no one up here was pressured in any way at all. And we're all happy to show our votes. I think you already know what they are. There was no pressure for Dominic to say what he did or I say what I did. It's how we thought. There was no pressure. There was no calling senators or whatever. So do we need to open up the public since this was pulled?
Yeah,
Public comment on this item,
on the minutes.
on the minutes.
Don't we love the Brown Act? So you're supposed to announce final vote decisions in closed session that adheres with the Brown Act, and then as well, you should put them in the minutes. So you guys didn't announce it, but you did put it in the minutes. So, I mean, in a roundabout way, you could say you violated the Brown Act, but you also disclosed it to the public at a future thing. So I just want people to know that, like, I mean, I know some of you don't like your city attorney, but I think you should just trust him because I don't think any of you have JDs. So I don't know. Thanks.
Think me.
Hello again. I just have a quick comment then. Again, the minutes reflect how everyone voted. And we know who voted yes and who voted no. But as I recall, the closed sessions are just the 5 of you and city council. So it still begs the question as to how did the clerk, Janice, get the information?
It was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Okay. When she was preparing the minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
And council voted for you to do that?
No, it was a Brown Act compliance determination by me.
Okay. So
Okay.
again.
Well,
pick-
I tend to agree that, again, I've been attending meetings since end of March or April and lots of closed sessions and we know what the tally is on oftentimes, it's 3-2 or 4-1 or whatever the case may be. But I can't think of a single time where we knew that, okay, Jack, Jody, and Dominic voted yes, and Stacy and Allison voted no, for example. I don't remember that ever happening before until now. That's all.
Stacy? Hi, Mitzi Windley, Fairway Drive. Who cares? It's going back and forth. He said, she said, he said. I was here just in this meeting when the attorney said that it should be put out who made votes in that room. He didn't say it was, it isn't, nothing. He just said it should be put, and everybody turned around what he had to say. I forgot what the other thing was now. Oh, the other thing, I'm going on memory, which is probably a big mistake. But they were talking about both engineer companies. I was sure at the last meeting, Weber, that the engineering part was supposed to be taken out and it was just to stay with the part with the building. And that's what was discussed at the last meeting. So if Weber was taken out as the engineer, I don't understand why we're going round and round
The
about this.
minutes reflect that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitzi.
Talking to people during public comments.
David Anderson. Just for clarification, the vote of September 9th should be reported when it's in open session. So how you voted becomes a matter of public record, as well as the information you relied on, with the exception of no attorney-client privilege. So this exact scenario happened 2 years ago, September 2023. And you guys had to disclose the 2007 contract or the letter from Adam Guernsey from CDCR. So you make it sound like there's some massive secrecy. The secrecy is actually a very narrow, crafted system so that you don't disclose it when you're deciding, but when you have decided, it becomes a matter of public record and everything that goes into that, with only narrow exceptions. So Josh, if you want to clue them in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any other public comment? All right, we'll close public comment. Someone want to make a motion, we approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, and I'd also like to state just briefly that what Mitzi, you said, it was in the record, it was in the minutes, that I brought it up, that we would eliminate Weber Geo as far as the engineer aspect of it, building inspection only. So I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Ayes have it. Okay, you wanted to pull the warrants too?
yes. Let's go down the list and we'll get to Weber Geo. Amador Tree Service, $35,000. Did that go out to bid?
I believe we did get several bids, yes.
You put out an RFP for a
We did
bid.
not put it out at RFP because we don't have time.
You
So
don't
we
have
did-
time
we
for
did
an
get-
RFP?
We did get several bids, yes.
Okay.
That
Normally
was not
those
for
bids
Pic-
come to council.
That was
to
for
make-
Picnic Hill, right?
Let's pick your kill.
Picnic Hill was put out for bid. That was a subcontractor for Picnic Hill.
So an official RFP was put out. These are government funds.
It's part of the Picnic Hill project.
I understand what that means, but these are government funds, so you follow a different bidding
We
and
did get
procurement.
three
process.
bids. We did get three bids for the government, for Picnic Hill. We got three bids.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Again?
say it one more time. There are stipulations in government funds on grant agreements that you put out an official request for proposals.
That's
It's
dirty.
in your grant agreement. So
Dirty.
that was my question, is if Amador Tree Service, because I see you have quite a list here of reimbursements, that if you are utilizing state funds, you have to put out a formal RFP for bidding. So I'm going to assume that it wasn't put out for any of the Amador Water Grant or the Water Resource Grant, that no RFPs were done.
Is that it?
No, it's not.
Everything.
Um,
Everything.
the raw water
Oh, push the button.
bill
We need to
at
push the button,
Howard
babe.
Park is up to 37,000. Is that multiple
You know what this came from? It's a link tool.
uses?
It's in the dryer.
I believe that's for one, all combined meters. Andrew?
Can you talk in the microphone, George,
I
please?
believe that was for combined meters. I'll defer to Andrew on that question.
Well, we only have one raw meter, to my understanding.
Put laundry away and started dinner.
So what's the
But
question?
yeah.
The Amador Water warrant. There's two.
With the park,
One's for 27,000 and the other is
the fields.
One of the,
they're right at the top. I lost track somewhere here.
on what page?
Under Amador Water.
Yeah, are you looking at the unpaid invoice report? Or
You gave us another one after.
a paid invoice report?
Yeah,
Is that the one you're looking at?
I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is in the back. Sorry. It's this one.
Which is the unpaid or the paid?
Just says check issue date.
There's not a title at the beginning? Is the check issue date between now and
It says
October
paid
1st?
invoice summary condensed.
Okay, paid invoices.
Checks issued.
Yeah, if you'll note, there's a note next to that, that's a duplicate. There was a voided check and there's a duplicate for Amador Water Agency. So all those that say multiple are a duplicate that was a voided check, but it doesn't show until the next.
Oh, at the very end, you have it.
Yes, and it has the updated amount.
Okay, so the $12,000 is a normal bill for the
Yes.
summer month. Are we close to Eco Urban's RFP?
Marcia, don't touch it, babe. Put out.
Pardon me?
Yes, please.
Speak in the microphone, George, please.
Janice is finished, right?
Waiting for one more. Jody's working on at least whole RFPs done and ready to.
So
Do you have a microphone over there, Janice? Okay, people online can't hear anything. Anything else?
Yes, I'm trying to get through them. So Weber Gio's invoice for September is $7,145. Our city engineer's bill is $283. As you know, Mr. Verinsky, I was provided Weber Gio's invoices. I asked that we bring those invoices, was one of my items that I recommended.
Oh, I
We
got
had
your
a second
cars.
councilman. So it was a
What?
priority agenda item. I
Yeah.
asked that we.
What
put
color?
those Invoices to council to discuss.
No.
And
What
that
color's
didn't
your car?
happen. So
Oh, what color's your
policy
car?
was ignored because that
What
should have
color's
been a
that car?
priority agenda item. On those invoices, it showed that Weber Gio is in fact performing engineering services across the board. It showed that council members were meeting with the city engineer, with Weber Gio personally. Council members are not to be involved in the affairs of the city, yet we have council members meeting with Weber Gio to discuss projects. Those are items of concern. I would like that to come back to the next council meeting for this council to discuss. I also noticed on here that we have a new building inspector in addition to Weber Gio, because he's getting paid as well. I've never seen his name before. But we have someone else that is doing the building inspections. So it's quite confusing on who's doing what, who we're
What's this
paying.
person's name?
It's on the warrants. Let me look. Andrea, do you know?
So Jesse Upshaw is a contractor that we signed a contract with to cover while Jordan's out for 4 months, I think.
He's in,
It's a girl and it's not a building inspector, it's admin.
oh, okay.
So we're actually having a savings while Jordan's out because they're coming in 3 days a week to meet with the building inspector and keep everything caught up.
Building department professional.
Yes.
Got it. It makes more sense. I thought Jordan was on her way back, so.
What color is that one?
You already answered my question on Gideon Fence. If an official RFP wasn't put out.
Your blankies?
I see that Gideon Fence is our chosen contractor for fencing. So that's all I have on the warrants.
Anything else? Any other council members? No? Just so y'all know, before I open this up to public comment, some of us do have questions on the warrants once in a while. Sometimes I have hundreds. But what I do is I come down to City Hall, talk to Andrea, whoever, and get the answers in, so I don't waste an hour going over the warrants.
Okay,
So,
well, I'm.
Open up the public comment.
I am going to.
Opening it up to public comment.
I am going to answer that, Mr. Mayor,
There's no question.
because I am not allowed to come
Fernando?
down and meet with you, am I, Mr. Lee?
You want to be removed?
Yes, try it.
Fernando?
Stop it. Stop it.
Removed for what? For what,
Quit
Mr.
interrupting the
Varinsky?
meeting.
No. No removal.
Public comment.
That was great harassment there, Mayor.
It's
Thank you.
perfect harassment. Now say what you want to say.
Perfect harassment
Absolutely.
on record.
What do you got to say?
In
Stacey
answer to
and
your
Alvin are
question,
arguing?
in terms of whether you've ever been
Stacey said, "You wanna
permitted
be
not to come,
removed?"
I think all the employees at City Hall can say that, hey, no direction has ever been given for you
No.
not to be permissible to come in and look at any record that you want. No direction was ever given. Ask any employee that
I'm
you
not here
like.
to argue with you, Mr. Lee.
No,
You don't
you made
answer
an
my email.
accusation. You asked me whether I prevented you from coming to City Hall. The answer is no. Ask all the employees. That's a ridiculous statement they just made, that I would try to prevent you, a council member, from coming to
Did
City
you
Hall.
not solicit harassment complaints against me?
No, I did not.
Oh, they get it.
All right, let's move on, please.
Go to YouTube.
Thank you.
Prove it.
All right, we'll open up the public comment.
Talking about warrants, let's move on.
Any public comment on the warrants?
You say something is not true.
George.
Yeah,
George.
you too.
George.
Hey, order, come on. Jeez. Way here.
I'm kind of embarrassed to follow this dog and pony show. I wanted to thank, before I get started, my issue is the warrant for Eco Urban. I want to thank Jody for his tenacity and his knowledge in getting the new, we haven't really done the RFP. We worked on the scope of work together. I think it's a good one. I think we hit just about everything. There's a few little things like reporting to the city manager every 30 days to kind of get an idea of where they're at, so we don't come into this mess that we're in with them now. Also, I want to thank Janice. Because Janice was really good about, I gave her a spreadsheet to go over and she came back with a good scope of work. I think, George, you probably could agree with that, or will agree with that. Also, there was another thing that I just wanted to mention. They just mowed the lawn yesterday or the day before, and that's all they've done is mowed the lawn. They hadn't done anything for a few weeks. So if we owe them any money, all they did was mow the lawn, and the weeds are there, the plants are dead, everything that's been going on. So you can make the decision if you want to pay them or not.
Thank you, Patrice.
I'm Mitzi Fair Oaks, Fairway, whatever. I just have a comment that this project has to be done by December 31st. So them going and doing everything as far as them just getting 3 bids without putting it out, I don't think we can get it done before December 31st. So I think us getting 3 bids is pretty well established for the short time we have left to do this project. Because if we don't do the project, if we're not done by the 31st, we lose the funds. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mitzi.
Any other public comment?
This three bid stuff, this has been going on long before these councilmen were here. When you were here and the other 3 people were here, there was a fence put on down at the sewer plant. $75,000 or $80,000. There was not a bid on it. There's a whole bunch of stuff that went on without 3 bids, tons of it. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Anyone in the Zoom, Janice? Close public comment?
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question? I need some direction from Mr. Verinsky because when Patrice spoke and I realized that I made a mistake on making my motion for the warrants. Because I actually wanted to pull Eco Urban. So is there a way we could change that?
Has a motion been made? No motion has been
I
made.
thought we did.
Just on the minutes.
Oh, I thought we did on the warrant.
No motion
Okay,
yet on the
good.
minutes,
Okay,
on the warrants.
good. Okay. I didn't want that to slide.
Does someone want to make a motion on the warrants?
I'll make a motion to approve the warrants, but I'd like to pull Eco Urban. I don't believe they deserve to be paid. Maybe we can negotiate something with them as a, percentage or something, but I don't believe we should pay them the full amount.
I'll second that.
We have a
Or
first
maybe
and a
if someone's
second.
Going to the beach.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Looks like he's going to the beach.
That was for approval of the entire warrants, right? Okay.
With the exception of Eco Urban.
Okay, moving on to the regular agenda's first item. Adoption of resolution 2025-33, accepting Wildflower Unit Number 1 public utility easements and public facility easements along Seabiscuit Alley in the city of Ione.
I believe Tom Garcia with Wildan is here to make that presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, honorable council members. Tom Garcia with Wildan, representing Jonathan Mitchell this evening. The item before you is acceptance of an easement on Seabiscuit, which was inadvertently not included in the final map when it was recorded. It came to light when PG&E was going to accept the services that were already constructed within Seabiscuit. They realized that there was no easement covering their services that had been installed. This action will provide PG&E and the other utilities that are existing within Seabiscuit the proper authorization to
Marshall,
maintain services.
You gotta tell Mama when you gotta go
Happy to
potty,
answer any
okay?
I just like the word,
Yeah, you pee
word
on the
Seabiscuit.
floor. Okay? You need to go potty
Any
still?
questions from council?
Nope.
No. I'm done.
Can't push it 'cause it's on the
All right,
ground.
we'll open up the public comment. Any public comment on this?
Hold on. Stay right here, okay?
Seeing none?
Stay
Anyone
right
on
here.
Zoom, Janice? No, okay, we'll close
All
public
over the
comment.
floor.
All right, does someone want to make a motion?
Yeah, it's what?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-33, accepting Wildflower Unit 1 public utility easements and public facility easements along Seabiscuit Alley in the city of Ione. Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, moving on to item 2, discussion adoption of resolution 2025-34, granting easements to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, CDCR, for an antenna tower and sewer pipeline.
Take this one. Thank you, Mayor. This has been brought to the council before. CDCR reached out to us earlier in 2025 about recording easements for the pipeline that's already been constructed in Dave Brubeck Road. It was a project that CDCR and city staff had worked on in years prior, in the years around 2020. I believe there was some turnover at CDCR and also in the city, and just these easements, they were prepared, they were drafted, it fell through the cracks and never got recorded. So the pipeline is already there.
Okay, hold on, babe, hold on.
We consider this just a formality so that CDCR can continue exploring and
hold on.
pursuing this project. That pipeline is not operational. They would have to come back to the city to reach an agreement on operation and who would service the line and who would do repairs and who would be responsible for costs. They also have some agreements and easements to arrange with the Jackson Rancheria properties where the Woodard Bottom project is located. But we consider this an administrative matter largely of this was a previously negotiated project. And the CDCR and the county need a resolution from the council to be able to record this in the records to memorialize what's already there. So this has staff's recommendation to continue something that was done in the years prior and to help CDCR advance this project if they so choose. Happy to take.
Actions, council?
So this was approved by a prior council.
I would guess that the overall project idea was approved because city staff was working with CDCR on the project and
yeah,
the pipeline got installed.
The prior city manager signed.
Yep. Yes,
It was approved.
I don't know if that came to council. That's this specific easement. I don't know if that came to council, but yes, it had the city manager's signature, and CDCR didn't accept the signature because of he departed the city. After.
CDCR or the state? I thought it was the state.
But likely the state. Yeah.
No, it's not operational right now, right?
No, but the pipeline's not being used by
Nothing
CDCR.
changed for years. To the pipeline, to any construction on the easement, it's still status quo.
Yeah, as far as I know, original construction and nothing since. They might be doing work on the Jackson Rancheria lands possibly, but not in Dave Brubeck Road since construction happened.
So before any operational things have to happen, they have to get another agreement?
It would be an agreement with the city for how repairs and operation would work. And if the city ever wanted to use that pipeline for itself, but it wouldn't become operational until more terms are agreed to between first them and Rancheria and also the city.
Would we, the city at that time, do we have protections in line to make sure that we're not facing, which by the way, I do believe we have issue with our water. Things in line to make sure that we don't contaminate anything. I mean, that they weren't allowed to do that. I don't know how to ask this question. I'm trying to think how to even ask this question.
If they were ever to use the pipeline, they would have to come back to the city again. Because it's not operational right now.
So if they came back to the city and we decided that we thought that there was potential for violations and contamination, we could stop it before they could actually use that pipeline?
You could include terms and conditions for how that would be addressed and who's responsible. But CDCR would be indemnifying the city from those types of instances.
Because I just want to make my point being that that I'm very concerned about that of this water. I believe that we have issues with our water. I think it's been proven. So that's why that vote was so difficult. But okay, that answers my question. I'd like to hear what public comment was. Somebody else has to say something.
Just to clarify, these documents are from 2019. So they're 6 years old.
Yeah.
And
2021.
The easement documents are 2019.
Yeah.
That's as current as just making sure, proving something that's not being included.
It was proposed in 21.
I was out there doing the first upgrade on our sewer plant, so I was working with those guys when they put it in, and I think it was Hensel and Phillips, and they all said, we can't believe that we're doing this with no permits. The only permit they got was a permit for the railroad to go under the railroad, because the job was told, throw money at it and build it as fast as you can. And how the language is written is completely wrong. It says there's for an antenna. There's no such thing as an antenna. There used to be an antenna on it, so they call it the property. So it says they might put an antenna on it. Has nothing to do with anything. To me, it's an ace in the hole. They owe us about $20 million for a sewer plant. If they want their easement, they can give us our $20 million. That's how I feel.
I mean, if we're going to talk easements, we can throw some money on another easement.
Stay on point.
Got anything, Councilmember Allen?
Nope.
Anything else before I open up the public comment?
No, for me, I've spent a lot of time, and certainly some of you have asked about the contamination at CDCR. I have read more reports than I care to share with you. I will try to share all of them with you. It is kind of a lot.
One's 33,000 pages.
One is, yeah, 17,841. The
piece for me is, it's contaminated. It's a risk to public health. It's said that in clear as day in some items from the Regional Water Quality Control Board. I think this easement is a plan to move their contamination or to ease their contamination from the site they've already contaminated. And I won't be a part of it based on that. And I understand some of you disagree with me, and I get it, but I am not wrong.
I'd like to see.
All right, with that said, we'll open up to public comment.
Hello, Richard Gonzalez, Pleasant Valley Drive. I'm the gentleman that Jack was talking to about who's been fighting cancer for 1.5 years. And it's all due to the water that's been put on that golf course over the years. I live on the course, I'm on the 13th fairway. And I want to know what that pipeline's supposed to be used for. Nobody said it was for. Are they going to dump sewage again someplace else? Are they going to dump semi-treated water, or what are they going to do? We don't know what this is about, and we need more information. And the fact that Dominic's sitting up there when he works within the prison system, he should have reclused himself according to the Brown Act, which he thinks he knows and he doesn't. I'm saying that if he's working for the prison, why is he taking this issue up? He shouldn't.
Because I don't work for the prison, Rich. You're an,
Wait, where's your place of employment? Where are you working?
Public comment, public comment.
Where do you work?
There's public comment.
This is public comment.
I do not work in Mill Creek.
Then don't interrupt me. You work within the prison system, and we all know it. We know who got you the job and everything else. We know why you're not in golf anymore. And the thing is, give us more information. When I went to the hospital at Travis Air Force Base, I was taken there in an ambulance. When I got there, within half an hour, I had 7 IV bags. When I was released 2 days later, they didn't want to release me. They wanted to keep me for another day, but I had to go talk to the surgeon about getting my throat cut. Anyway, they told me, see these 4 things, Richard? And they're showing me my report. It was a toxic report. I said, yes. They go, none of this should be in your body. It's from the Ione water. And we know all about the Ione water. And they said, do not drink it ever again from the tap or anything. Drink purified water. So the number one thing on the agenda for this city council, period, should be the water that we're drinking, because we have the highest per capita rate of cancer in the state. Please, people, wake up and take care of your responsibilities.
Any other?
Hello. If I remember correctly, this was an agenda item a couple of months ago. And there was no decision made. It was, the can was kicked down the road, and here we are again. If I remember correctly, and Mr. Verinsky, you can check me if I'm wrong, but it seemed to me that this had been decided by city council or whatever back then. And it was pre-2020 or whatever. And then city manager, Mr. Rock, I believe, signed the document. And shortly after, or maybe coinciding with when that document was signed, he departed the city. And so therefore, this is merely curing a deficiency of getting the current city manager to sign a document, which is already a matter that, again, was discussed and decided by previous city council and signed by previous city manager. That's the first issue. If I am wrong, please let me know, but that's my recollection. The second thing that I want to point out is the city manager pointed out tonight that if this easement or whatever it is, if CDCR wants to do anything with it, it's non-operational right now. So in order to make it operational, they would have to come back to the city, which then our current city council members or whomever is sitting up there at the time that they come back will then get to decide. And that's the point, to shut them down. If this is merely curing a deficiency of a signature on a document, then sign the document, because you're still holding all the cards. They can't do anything until you give them approval. That's my thought. Please, and if I'm wrong, Mr. Verinsky, let me know.
That synopsis is consistent with staff's staff report and
Okay.
understand.
My memory's not totally gone.
Pardon me. Haven't been walking that long. First of all, this thing was abandoned over 5 years ago. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to the CDC. Let's go back to Woodard Bottom. Per state law, when the state improves or develops on private property, the state and the property owner must both sign a contract describing in detail what work is to be done. No such contract exists between Green Rock and the state of California. After submitting a public records request for the above-mentioned contract, Corrections sent me a document identifying a person known as Lori Lord as a contact person / employee of Green Rock Ranch, the then owner of Woodard Bottom. So about 2017-ish, Ron Smiley resigned from the council here due to health issues. With full knowledge, Lori Lord worked for Green Rock Ranch. Mr. Atlan, Ms. Ratton, Mr. Epperson, and Mr. Plamondon appointed Lori Lord to be on the Ione City Council. Kind of funky, but anyway. In gross violation of the conflict of interest, Lord actually voted to give Corrections the right of way through city property to her employer's project's property. Corrections sees this problem and is using the council to pass this resolution as an end run to clean up a serious legal issue. This is not an administrative detail or housekeeping, as some would like to have you know. I just want to remind you that Bob Sleppy, the point man for this whole fiasco, said several times that once Woodard Bottom is used for disposal, cattle could never graze on the grass due to the known contaminants. Now, Mr. Lee, you have done a very good job as city manager. I respect and admire what you've accomplished. But the bottom line is, in your business experience, you have to function on the assumption that the other party has some form of honesty and decency, and you work from there. When you're dealing with California Department of Corrections, with my 30 years in dealing with them, that's just not realistic. They're just horrible. And again, I will again point to an unfulfilled 1985 contract that says they will build a tertiary plant and dump it into a local creek. Now, just me, but I would recommend that you tell them pound sand, and the next time anybody contacts anybody from the city of Ione, you take that unfulfilled contract, give it to them once upside the back of the head and another time on the side of the head, and say, when this contract is fulfilled, then you come back and talk to us. Can I answer any questions? Have a good evening.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm David Anderson. I believe if you work for Prison Industries Authority, your paycheck says on it, it's Department of Corrections. And there's no issue from anybody I've ever heard of that PIA is somehow an independent agency. They're a wholly owned subsidiary.
You don't need to make this about me all the time. Just make your point.
Don't talk
I
back
don't
to me.
work
It's
at
my
Mill Creek.
time. It's my turn.
You've said a lot of lies about me and where I
Public
work, and
comment.
you filed a bunch of bogus reports. And here's another one.
Continue, Dave.
Go ahead. Keep talking
So-
garbage.
Christie, come on.
So this whole issue came up in 2018. It predates every one of you except Jack. And what was discussed with several members of the community that are in this room tonight was that any wastewater that's going to be exported to Woodard Bottom was totally and wholly inappropriate. And we met with the tribe and explained to them the testing that we received from the Regional Water Quality Control Board for tests that were done at the prison in January 4th of 2018. And it was conclusive that there was contamination, and the regional board said it shall not leave the property. And so the idea of this Woodard Bottom proceeded without proper permits, just totally cowboying it. Well, there were several problems with it. So if you go to Woodard Bottom, the groundwater is only 2 or 3 feet from the surface. So if you put that material in that area, you're going to spread the contamination for as far as you can see. There were no percolation studies on Woodard Bottom. And in fact, there was a negative declaration provided by CDCR where they declared a negative declaration and they marked the box that said, this is not a new project, which is a flat lie, just absolutely out there. So if you, majority of the city council, think you're going to pass this and grant them an easement, and that they're going to come back to you and say, oh, please, can we use this sewer
Rachel, your
easement?
microphone.
My understanding of easements is they don't need your permission. Once you give them an easement, they can use it. What are you going to do? Give them a permit for using their easement, which doesn't make sense. So this whole thing is kind of rehashing it over and over and over. It's wrong, and it was wrong from day one, and going back to 2018, it was shot down then. So, thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Any other public comment?
Everybody's going on about Dominic. I don't agree with a lot of stuff Dominic does, but he works for prison industries. He does not work for the prison system. It's a different paycheck. It's a different entity. Those head people up at Mule Creek could care less about Dominic down here.
Thank you, Mitzi.
So
The whole thing about this prison is they polluted in 2006. There's records of it. Every well, they were supposed to check every well in a certain amount of radius of that prison by the water board, and they flat refused to do it. That's the truth. They flat refused to do it. And there's like Mrs. Winters got cancer. What the hell is my friend Scully? He's got cancer. All that B was from he found it in his well 10 years ago. All from the prison. All leads to the prison. Here you guys want to hook up a line to feed his backyard, which is going to everybody's downstream from it, which I believe the state already knows, because in 1980, when I moved here, University of Davis used to test the water at the dairy hole and went down a 5-mile drive and tested it. And all of a sudden they quit. I think they knew there was PFOASs in it from the academy, and they just shut it down. And I think this county knows that. I don't have any proof of it, but I think the city knew it too. And I can't believe they're going to have a radio antenna so they can open up that electric valve, go from Preston, use their bypass, which was totally illegal by the water board. They ain't supposed to use it. They can go right down that pipeline and we don't know nothing about it. And they can pollute the whole valley, plus clean down the Galt and down to McCollum. I can't believe you people are going to give this up. You guys own this. That is your property. That easement don't mean nothing. It's over 5 years. You guys own it. It's just like, you see the Rancheria giving it to them? They ain't gonna give them that down down Bluebeck Road. They own underneath the road. They've been paying taxes on it. They give them the easement. They didn't even have a paper to do it. So they own it outright. Geez, I can't believe you guys got total control of that. If they want to use it, they come to you and they deal with you. They don't deal with themselves. You give them this, they're going to dump shit down there. I don't give a thing what you say. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Well, the man who put that pipeline in, I was at a meeting and he told us everything they were going to do, and it was all nothing but lies, and I called him out for it and he didn't have an answer to it. But the thing is, they just said that they didn't have no permits to put that pipeline in. So why do we have if we're going to okay that pipeline, why do we have a building inspector? It's the same thing. We didn't have nobody inspect it, and here you're going to let them have it? Come on. How do you know? They might have put that pipe together wrong. And if they put anything in it, it might leak and ruin everything. And as far as I'm concerned, the prison don't need that pipeline, because you know what they're gonna do? You haven't heard what they're doing at Mule Creek because it hasn't been let out yet. But all I know is that pipeline, as soon as you give it to them, they're gonna use it one way or the other, do something with it. Because they're very sneaky, the state. They think they can get away with anything. And you know that, just ask our governor, look at what he's doing. I mean, they can do whatever they want. The best thing is if Ione gives them that, I would just say, no, we own it, so stick it up your ear. Until they come to the city of Ione and prove that that pipe was put in right, because they didn't have no building permits. And don't feel sorry for the prison. They don't care about us. I mean, they were supposed to put a tertiary plant in, they never put it in. They were supposed to do this, they were supposed to do that, they never did it. And just a lot of people work there, that's great, it's the industry, but I'm just saying, don't give them that pipeline. Make them suffer for it. If they want it, buy it. Because we own it now. I mean, squeeze them, because they really don't want it, I don't think. I don't know what they're doing, because they know they can't put their water in it. But it's just, the guy who put that in, he screwed everything up, and now they want to straighten the paperwork out, but I think it's a little late. So, but all I'm saying, if that pipeline was put in without permits, it shouldn't even be used. It should be tore out. Because I know if I go build a house and I don't get no permits, what's the city gonna do? And the inspector's gonna say, you gotta tear the walls down. You gotta tear the whole house down so I can see what the cement, you gotta tear the cement out. So what is the difference? I don't understand it. So like I gotta say, if you give them permission, if you give them that pipeline that we own now, so we don't need a building inspector anymore, we can just do whatever we want in Ione. Put water heaters in, whatever, so it's all up to you guys.
Any other public comment? Anyone on Zoom, Janice? No, we'll close public comment. I'll say one other thing that, they're right by saying we legally own it. Who owns that pipeline now is the Rancheria, the city of Ione and the county. That's who legally owns that pipeline now. Any other council comments, questions?
How did this item get back on the agenda?
CDCR staff continued to follow up with us, and we brought it back to the agenda, and it was a 2-2 vote with an abstention, and brought it back to see if there was a final vote.
No, I mean this time. I know how it got last time. How did it get back this time?
CDCR kept on pushing for us to get it back on an agenda.
Can we go ahead and vote?
Make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion on item number 2, discussion or adoption of resolution number 2025-34, granting easements to the California Department of Corrections Rehabilitation for antenna tower and sewer pipeline. My motion is to vote no.
You gotta make a motion.
No motion needed for a denial.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Only a
know.
motion to adopt.
I move to deny.
Want me to do it?
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Gonna have to make a motion.
Right.
No, I gotta offer someone
Right.
to make a motion.
I know you do.
No motion?
But if he's gonna vote no, then you don't need to.
Can we, everybody, can we everybody, we don't need to have big brothers and big sisters around us all the time telling each other what to do, so please. I mean, I like for us to keep Josh telling me what to do. I don't mind people telling me what to do, but.
I would maybe
Recommend it.
go back to CDCR and tell them we would like to speak with them again, because I think I was the only one in the room when they showed up last time. I don't know if it's a Brown Act violation to have everyone in there. We have a special meeting with them. They haven't been to one of our meetings except when they want something. So. Okay.
Well, is that, it's fine. If anyone's making a motion to adopt, or just no,
I'd like is it possible to poll the council to see what they?
Someone would have to make a motion.
Well, this says just discussion. There's no action.
Well, adoption of a resolution.
I'd like the city residents to see who would vote which way.
Oh, he thinks he knows. Oh. Let's go.
That's fine.
What were you asking?
So you want to poll?
I would make a motion to poll the council to see what their vote would be. I think the city of Ione needs to know who would vote yes to approve this or vote no, because I believe it should be denied.
So the point is to out your fellow council members
That's exactly my point.
You're only,
without knowing how they're going to vote.
you're only required to take a vote if there's a
No.
motion to vote on.
Got it.
I would vote no.
And I
know
would
that's
vote no.
shocking.
What is your recommendation we do going forward? Because I don't want to just leave them hang.
Oh, if there's no motion, then you can move on to the next item, but.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, we'll
And
move on
I
to
would vote
item.
no too.
I do agree with Stacy that we need to have, I do agree with Stacy that we have to have the line of communication open to CDCR.
I agree.
Okay, moving on to item 3. Update on audit for fiscal year 2020, 2021.
Andrea Bonham, Finance Manager, and I'm quite excited to be here with this one. A, because it's good news for the night, and 2, it's good news for us just in general. So basically, it's an update on the 2021 audit update that they've been working on since 2023 is when they finished the audit for 1920. And it is scheduled, we've received the draft. Jane created the MDA, which is the management discussion and analysis that goes with the audit. And we're in our final comments and final record keeping items that we have to pull. So they are scheduled to be here October 21st at the next meeting with the audit for 2021.
Wow.
That's it.
I don't think it's going to be a good audit.
We're not clapping until they get here.
Yeah.
And read their remarks.
It actually, in the draft there, it's actually better than I was expecting for 2021.
Council.
Any questions from council?
No, thanks for all your hard work on that, Andrew.
And Jane
This-
is
Jane,
carried the,
staff,
yeah,
yes, thank
Jane is the main audit contact for all of these audits. So yeah, it's been a long process.
Jane, thank you again.
Real quick comment, we have an outstanding staff on board right now. They need to be thanked because we really, in the little short time I've been here, they've really, we got great staff.
We don't need to open this up to public comment, do we, council? We do? Okay, all right, we'll open up the public comment. Any public comment on this? Seeing none? All right. Close public comment. Any other council comments or questions? No? Okay. We will move on to update report regarding revenues expenditures compared to fiscal year 2024, 2025 budget.
This is just an updated report as we continue to clean up the 2024-25, which will be coming to you at the next council meeting for the budget adjustments. So there's no direction or no action. It's just an update of, we keep continuing to make the corrections, and this is just the most updated one.
Okay. Any questions from council?
I got a couple of questions, but I'm only going to ask one because this is coming back and it's already late. And I've submitted a bunch of questions and I appreciate the responses. But on page 2 of the revenue report, if you go down to the very bottom, you've got total other financing sources and 402,176. Like, what is that and where did it come from?
That is one of the items we're cleaning up, and that includes a couple of things. One is the other financing sources, which is the loan payments in and out of the funds, and then also some of those transfers in, transfers out. That's all the stuff that we're working on cleaning up.
So will you know in a couple of weeks on that one?
It'll be coming with the budget adjustment.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have the detail on all of them.
Most of my questions are just like that one, so I will wait.
Yeah, and it's not killing. It's just to give you guys an idea. It's changed a little bit as when we had time between budget and audit, we're working on 24, 25. So now that moving forward, the next 2 weeks is going to be 24, 25 cleanup.
Okay, thanks.
Any other council questions? All right, we'll open up to public comment. Any public comment on this? We'll close public comment. Moving on to item 5, update on allocation and uses of American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds.
Okay, this was an item that I mentioned at one of the budget meetings. The city was allocated a total of just over $2 million for the American Rescue Plan Act, which we call ARPA. And so originally there was some confusion on the reporting and what was qualifying and what wasn't qualifying. We thought there was no criteria that had to be followed. It was all just open, and that there was no timeline. So we have our grant coordinator, Debbie Mackey, who's been digging into all our grants and all the follow-up and reporting. And it was discovered that on this grant, yes, there is things that qualify and don't qualify. And also there was a deadline of 12/31/24. So when we discovered that, and I brought up, I think at the previous budget meeting, if you don't spend the funds by that time, they have to be allocated or under contract, then you have to give the funds back. So our suggestion at that meeting was we would like to bring back a proposed allocation so we can make the allocations so we don't have to give the money back. So what you'll find attached is what was approved in fiscal year 21-22 was what you guys thought was approved to be spent for the ARPA funds. And some of them were spent, some of them weren't spent, and one of them we have a suggestion on. And then the chart behind it is a proposed how we would like to take the qualifying amounts and split them up. So if you look at the pie chart, it's by percentage, and that's how we would like to get direction from staff, because it's going to take a lot of work to make all these journal entries to move the funds. And so we're looking at using the qualifying, and we're not including payroll because it comes up with a whole auditing system. So these are expenses that were spent that we would like to move from different funds. So if you look at police and fire, those would be the restricted funds. That's not the general fund. And then the parks, public works and parks, that's mostly general fund. And then if you look at the wastewater and tertiary, that's going to be general fund for tertiary because we didn't have the interconnect project back in the day. And then the rest from the 311.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
So is this coming back, this item, or do you need something right now?
We need direction on the way the allocation that we have it split up. If council gives us direction to move forward with that allocation, so we can pull the qualifying ones and move them.
So my comments are this: I don't agree with some of the findings on here. I'd like to meet with whoever that came up with these. There was a committee before that did, they got together with staff and the city manager, and they decided what the allocation was going to be, and then they did it. I think you're right. There were some things in the original one that probably shouldn't have been in there. I'm not exactly sure what they are. But for example, the fencing, the first one, I mean, that was not paid by insurance at the wastewater treatment plant. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Things that weren't done, like the fire department here, fire department upgrades, like why weren't they done? I mean, we approved the money. So why, these are the type of questions I have,
But nobody's here that was here at that time to tell you.
Well, I mean, I thought it was to put air conditioning or something in fire station number 1 to make it livable so they could live there because there was no AC or something like that. But so those are my questions. I'm not ready to say yay or nay on this right now, but I would like more eyes on this, a council person.
So what is your question?
Well,
You're disagreeing with?
I'm
what
disagreeing with $100,000. I believe that was paid for. The
That's what I'm saying. So this research, that's what we would have to go do and pull the research for all of these based on this allocation.
The other one was we pulled the building next door with the ARPA money, right?
Right, and I
Now
can
you're
have-
saying that we didn't.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying we recommend we move it, and I can have Debbie speak to that, because as soon as you pay for that with federal funds, you're tied to a whole bunch of criteria that goes with that building. So you'd be better served And
Okay.
our idea is to move that out. It's going to be backfilled anyhow with other expenses coming in. So what it does is it gets you away from any federal regulations on that building of what you can use it for, what you can sell it for, and how long you have to keep it. So
Right.
that was our suggestion.
And then,
So it's not that we didn't do it. We're just recommending it would be best if we take it out of ARPA, but it's going to be backfilled
I
with.
think Debbie would like to speak.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wait, council.
Good evening, council. As far as specifically for the building next door, it does not qualify. So it had to have been in use December 31st as something that would have qualified. So as of right now and what it was being used for, unfortunately, it's something that we can't use with the ARPA funds. Everything that Andrew and I, we went over all of the stuff when we did the percentages. We pulled everything that is a qualifier. So these percentages actually do reflect everything that will qualify for the ARPA funds. And they're past things for wastewater, tertiary, things like that. But there are the other things that weren't done. Again, we can't speak to anything that was done prior to us receiving this. We became aware of this. I think the first email I received was in May. And then I started looking into it. And then that's when I found out about all the qualifying. So the percentages are based on what was reflective of what we can qualify with the least amount of paperwork that would have to be done in order to qualify. We're taking, there's up to $10 million that we're taking what's called a standard deduction. So we don't have to show that it's a revenue loss. But if we were to use payroll and things like that, there's a whole formula that we would have to use to qualify those expenses. This is kind of the best, easiest way to qualify to make sure that we do not have to return any of these ARPA funds.
and why is the dog park not eligible? Well, I mean, it just says not completed. So we had someone here a couple of months ago looking for funds. So I'd like to leave that in there at least. So there's some things in here I'd like to leave in there.
Well,
Yeah, we can go back and look and see if there was qualifying expenses towards the dog park that we could pull out, but it would have had to have been spent during that period of time.
You and I did that.
Question is, dog park is now going to be part of the new master plan, so couldn't those resources be
Oh my God.
used else other than the,
Everything had to be under contract as of December 31st.
yes, I understand, Debbie.
So, yeah, and we do not have anything in writing, signed, documented that would have been spent for that dog park.
Right, for the new one. I was just saying that as far as doing the improvements to the current one we have, I think it might be a waste of funds, but.
There's nothing that we could do at this point. So we'll just, okay.
I respectfully disagree that we didn't know that these funds had limited uses. They were American Rescue, under the American Rescue Act.
Mhm.
They had specific funds. They went through the Treasury Department, I don't know how many times until they came with their final ruling. One of the first things Mr. Mitchell and I did when we got here was we reviewed the use of ARPA funds. 90% of these items were pulled, and we were told they were reclassified out. So I feel like there's like 2 years missing, and we're right back to a 2021, 2022 schedule. The dog park does not qualify. The street sweeper didn't qualify. And I am pretty sure John Alfred was the acting city manager at the time, and we all sat down and had a meeting, and he said he was going to move those. The problem that I saw was none of this money helped the community. And that's what it was meant for. It was meant to help families that were struggling. It was meant to help kids that were staying home. That was the meaning of the entire act. And I think it was quite disturbing when, I'm not going to speak for you, Mr. Mitchell, when we got on here and we saw the city squandering funds to get new computers, to redo City Hall, get new carpeting, and a dog fountain, when people were struggling and that money was meant to help them. And so far, out of this, they've not gotten a dime. We could have done a lot.
Yeah.
We could have joined with another city, got laptops,
I'm not laughing at you, I'm said something to him.
could have put laptops in households, worked with the internet provider to get reduced internet so kids could connect. We didn't even think about that. We had a city council that just saw $2 million and said yippee, but there were a lot of restrictions.
And I'll agree with any grant fundings. I'm always very wary when anybody says you can use it for anything because it's really, there's always strings attached. And I would support you on your statement on many things that you did say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
They did say, and I remember this, I don't mean to interrupt you, that we had an exemption, a rural exemption on reporting. But that did not say, now you have a loophole to use it how you want it.
correct. And that was at 10 million, up to 10 million, the standard
Right.
deduction that we could take, which we are definitely doing that as easy or on the reporting system.
Yeah, I would
But-
just like to see some of it,
And I wish we could, but as of December 31st, that money.
because it's not under contract.
Well, December 31st was the date that it all had to have an agreement, a contract, something like that. So it's all going to go back into general fund. So
We didn't have a contract with softball?
no, there is nothing. Yeah, we really looked
That
to
would've
see
been
if there was something that we could have utilized, but unfortunately, but this money is going back into general fund and then that's the discretion of council.
How much time do you have, Ms. Mackey, to get this report back?
Oh, okay, so excuse me, so the portal will open for my reporting, I believe in April. So I do have some time. However, these are all receipts have to be prior to December 31st,
2025,
2024.
2024.
Yeah, so it's already closed. So
Thank you, Debbie. Any other questions from council? Did you have anything more to add, Andrea?
So I just want to, I think there's a sense of importance to get this cleaned up. And also these will affect your fund balances. So in 2024, what I'm going to bring back on the 21st, the decision here will affect those fund balances and also moving for 25, 26. And we can't spend the money now is the problem. We have to go back with what we've already spent and reallocate it. So that's when Debbie and I came up with this percentage wise of the expenses we could find. This is how the percentages broke up. And then Debbie has to report, but there's a huge amount of paperwork on the backside because every single one has to be a journal entry. We have to research the receipts and get them done. And then we have to create the journal entries to get everything in their correct account. So if we put it off again, we're just going to end up closer to the end.
What
of
you're going
the
to end up
year.
having is paying it back is what you're going to end up having happen.
Well, yeah, we don't want that because there's a
No,
million
and
that we
that's what's
haven't
gonna
allocated.
happen.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't want that. So we,
Hate digging back through and
Yeah.
looking at things you paid, but you're going to have to reallocate. I mean, you're basically talking about whether we're going to take money in and have used that for something or literally writing a check to the government.
yes, those are your two options.
Or
And
we're-
Debbie's done a lot of digging and trying to find the qualifying ones that we can pull. So she's confident, and I'm confident, working with her, that we can find the funds to cover it. It's just, we need direction from staff because we're not going to do this without direction from council, and it's a lot of work. So we have to make sure to undo this would not be easy. So we need to make sure it's what council wants before we tackle this project.
So this is an update on the allocation, but you want direction, so we need to make a
So this
motion
is what we proposed.
I understand.
And these two accounts are not general fund. These are the restricted funds. The police and the fire, that would go back to the restricted funds. And the others, the green one, that would be mostly general fund. And some of the police would be general fund. And then also the wastewater and tertiary, the majority of tertiary would be general fund
Mhm.
because it wasn't connected yet. So it'd be the 311 account, not the 311 account is the wastewater and tertiary is the 3131 account. And most of that is in general fund. And general fund always has to backfill the tertiary because it's usually more expenses than
Well, I'm comfortable with your vision and what you come up with there. If this is something we need to vote on, I think we should vote on it and Anybody else want to discuss this before
I gotta open up
The
the
motion?
public comments.
oh, we haven't done that yet? Okay. I'm tired tonight.
The meeting.
Any other council comments before I open up the public comment?
I mean, we have been asking for this for over a year, so it's too bad we didn't get this last year. But now it looks like because the city took no action by the deadline, that we're now where we're at, which doesn't make me very happy, but that's typical for me.
All right, we'll open it up to public comment. Any public comment on this item?
Somebody on Zoom.
Like we got someone on Zoom. Go ahead on Zoom.
Yes, this is Diane Ratton. This is very disheartening for me to hear this. A year and a half ago, I had asked for what we were doing with the ARPA funds. I asked where the allocations were. The council was specifically told that we can use the funds for whatever we want now, up to, because we have a $10 million. I disagreed with that. I asked finance to look into it further and was told twice that we could use these any way we wanted to. And I completely disagreed with that. The feds do not just hand money over without strings. So my suggestion at this point would be, perhaps, Andrea, you can provide to the council what funds and what are acceptable funds to use these for, and all the expenses for those acceptable uses that the city has paid. I saw on the agenda you had 5 or 6 items on there, but I believe you're disqualifying the tertiary plant, but it is wastewater, and wastewater is a qualifying use of ARPA funds. So we've spent a lot of money on tertiary in this last year. So if
Yeah, I'm not
those
disqualifying
funds,
tertiary is included on those proposed allocations.
okay, I just
The
saw
majority
wastewater.
of that is, tertiary is general fund.
Okay, so I mean, if we're going to, if the council is going to make a decision on what are qualifying expenses, if you maybe have a list of what is actually a qualifying expense would be helpful to them. I know if I was on council, I would want to see that, so that when we are looking at what is a qualifying event, we can actually allocate those funds accordingly. And based on our current budget, it would seem another $1 million influx of funds for payments that we've already made would be very helpful. So that would be my suggestion. Any qualifying acts or funds that we can use this for, the council should review them and make the decision based on all of the information. I realize you guys have gone to a lot of trouble on this, and you've decided what you think is appropriate, but I think the council should have the benefit of all of your back information that you base this on. Thanks.
Just on the line when she the mayor here.
Public comment, you can't talk unless you come to the podium.
So is there anyone else?
Do you want to come to the podium?
Was that just the ex-mayor that was on the phone talking, asking questions? No? Ratton?
We can't answer.
Diane Ratton? No. No?
Yeah, she wasn't the mayor last year. She was the mayor in 2019. And she,
The vice mayor?
maybe.
Public comment. Go ahead, Mitzi.
The golf course. I wasn't going to speak, but because of the, whatever you call it up there. First of all, we didn't have the same financial people, the same people back then. So everybody keeps blaming everybody. Second of all, it's pretty cut and dry. Either you do this or you pay them $10,000. You got
No,
two
it's
choices.
not.
So you decide if you want to pay out 10,000 or do what?
2 million.
What?
2 million.
How many?
2
2 million. Or you do what Andrea
Diane, your mic is still on.
wants to do. Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, Mitzi. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitzi. Any other public comment?
Let me clarify something, and it's, to Ms. Ratten's comments, this is why I brought this too for our proposed, because this is a huge project to go and pull all these qualifying expenses. So to pull every qualifying expense is probably not feasible,
Never make.
just in timeline wise and with everything else we have going, because we have our new audits coming up. So that's why we thought the best thing was to bring to council as much as we knew, as soon as we knew it, because we just discovered this back in, well, the first email was in May, and then we started doing the research. So that way is why we came up with the suggestion to show council for transparency, here's the allocations, percentages we'd like to make, and then we will go do the deep dive and pull every single receipt. And then we'll have to have a chart to bring back to council of, here's the account it's coming out of, here's the account it's going in, because every single journal entry has to be made to equal that. So that's why we brought it in two pieces, because if you wait for, we bring back every expense for you and then you have to dig through the expenses, is probably a very lengthy project.
I have one question for you, Andrea. So just to be clear, you're aware of where these funds can go?
Yeah, and that's what Debbie's been working on, and Debbie can.
Okay.
I've been working with.
So
Yes.
in order for us to approve you moving these funds from here to there to here to there, you're going to guarantee that they qualify under ARPA guidelines?
100%, yes. I've
100%.
already went through and have qualified I base the percentages off of qualifying expenses. The time that comes in, and Andrea and I both learned this last week, where I was communicating via grant and reporting, and she was doing line items. She has to take that line item and match it with my qualifying fund. And so that's where you have all of this, all of these line items and all these papers that have to then go in and then match up to her records.
I understand that part.
Yeah.
My concern is the strict restrictions on the use of ARPA.
Yes, they're all
Because
qualifying. I do line by,
We've
yeah.
spent over $1 million of ARPA money. We are now in line for a single line audit.
Yes, so
And then
all
when
of
they
these,
come in for a single line audit, they open everything.
absolutely, everything that I have went through that reflects these percentages is a qualifying expense.
Okay.
And that will be noted in it'll be noted usually by a number, and then in my report, it does have what that qualifying expense is. So whatever that expense is, whether it's tertiary, is going to qualify as 3, and then you're going to look on in the appendix, and it's going to say that this category reflects this expense. So I've done pretty much all that. It just does not match up with finance at all. So we speak different languages.
And I think maybe I need to clarify. So we're not asking tonight, this is what we would like to work on. When I bring it back to you, that's when you guys will decide and approve and see every fund. That's not going to happen before it comes back to you.
Okay.
Well, this is
Why are
just
we-
giving us direction.
We don't give staff direction. George gives staff direction.
Okay, but you just, okay.
give
I was
directives
just
to
told the
George.
council wants transparency. So for transparency, I'm bringing this forward to council to say, here's the allocations we'd like to do before we go and do all this work. And then council says, no, we don't want that. And then we have to start from scratch. So I'm bringing it for transparency reasons. Here's the allocations we'd like to do. I will work with Debbie. We will get it to where you can see exactly what fund it's going in. And when we bring it to council at that time, that's when you'll approve, yes, you can make these adjustments. We're not doing those adjustments based on this tonight.
We're gonna talk this to death. We need to get some action on this, in my opinion.
But George, we give George direction.
Well, that's
That's
exactly what
simple.
I intend to do. I'm
Oh.
gonna ask George to give direction.
Well, we all do it together.
I quite understand that, Ms. Councilwoman LaFane. Like I said earlier, I guess we need to make some type of a motion, correct, Josh? To authorize George to make
George, can you handle it?
Let's
I'd just give, I'd give George and you guys the direction to follow the ARPA fund percentages that you've got listed here. And I appreciate it being transparent to the public and look forward to seeing the list of ways you're going to keep us from writing a check back to the government.
Good job, Jack.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you. Moving on to item 6. Discussion adoption of resolution number 2025-35 to approve the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget.
Okay, we're finally here, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. It is our privilege to present the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget of the City of Ione. This budget is more than a financial plan. It is a statement of a roadmap for the future of our community. This budget was developed in coordination of the Finance Department and all of the department heads. This year's budget reflects both opportunity and responsibility. With the lack of attention in previous budgets for revenues, the city is poised to make significant strides forward by addressing long-standing needs and strengthening its financial foundation. The central focus of this budget is twofold: capital infrastructure. After years of deferral, the budget addresses street improvements, improvements to our sewer, tertiary plant, and continued development of Howard Park. These projects are vital to the continued improvement of Ione, and they represent long-term investments in the city's future. Sales tax and economic development. For years, the city has relied solely on building impact fees as a major source of revenues and has neglected the development of sales tax and other sources of revenues. In the coming months, we hope to have significant announcements that will enhance this endeavor for years to come. What makes this budget especially significant is the leadership behind it. The present City Council has demonstrated the courage and will to do what has not been done for more than a decade: to take on long-standing challenges directly, to make hard but necessary decisions, and to invest in Ione's future rather than postponing progress. Through your leadership and support of the city staff, we are positioning Ione for stability today and prosperity for tomorrow. I will go as far to say that, in my personal opinion, this council in future years will be remembered as one of the most consequential of the past 10 to 15 years. I want to thank the countless volunteers and members of the community of Ione who continually contribute their time, resources, and devotion to various endeavors in Ione year after year without regard for recognition or appreciation. This, in my opinion, is what makes Ione truly exceptional and extraordinary. In closing, I would like to express my sincere thanks to all of the staff here in the city that strive every day to make Ione better. To Chief Alfred and the entire Ione Police Force, who have finally have a place they can call their own, and our extraordinary Ken Mackey with our fire department, who collectively save the city hundreds of thousands of dollars every year through our mostly volunteer members. And finally, to our finance department, headed by Andrea Bonham, Public Works, headed by Zach Finch, Parks and Rec, headed by Selena Mitchell. These are the people that make it happen every day in the city. Thank you. And Andrea will be presenting the budget.
Thank you, George.
George?
I guess I'll. So we had 2 budget workshops, and then we've had this posted on the website for a couple of weeks now. And so I did have some questions that were presented by Councilmember Atlan that are also included in the packet, and then the budget message and the budget detail. So how would you like to proceed?
Okay, there's any questions from council first off? Comments from council?
On the budget or on what?
On the budget.
On the budget? I do, but I'll go last.
Anyone else? Questions?
I don't have any questions. I've been watching you this whole time, so. I have.
And the budget form, just as a note, the budget format was based on the 2021 as requested by Councilmember LaFane, which is funny. It was also adopted on October 19th of 2021. So I guess we're similar in more than one way. We're in October. This is cool. Not good.
I'm good. You got questions?
Any questions, comments from anyone else, Andrew? No, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, I have a lot of questions, but I'm not gonna keep everyone here for hours, so I'm just gonna go with a few. I spent 60 or 80 hours looking at every single budget and every single audit from 2007 to 2021. I looked at the interfund borrowing and the loans and so on and so forth, and I sent that up to the finance manager last year, and nothing happened. Then the person left. That's one of the reasons is the person left. There was a lot of things identified on there that I would like to see addressed. Also, while I was doing that, I noticed that, you know, people think I'm asking many questions or on wine or whatever you want to call it. That's fine. But so back in 2010, the city of Ione paid both sides of FICA for the employees, and they paid CalPERS for admin and half of the CalPERS for safety, right? That was $250,000 out of the budget from 2010. You go back and look. So people complained about that or mentioned it or drew attention to it or whatever you want to say. And the people at the time were me and Lori Lord actually mostly complained. We're sitting right where you guys are sitting, and we're saying, you know, this just can't happen. It's unsustainable. And eventually we had a council in and they got rid of that. The other thing that was a big bone of contention was, so OPEB is the retiree health medical, right? When you retire from the city of Ione after 5 years, you get all your medical paid for, and if you die, your spouse gets it. In 2019, we negotiated it out. So in 2010, we paid out $5,000 in retiree health payments. In 2025, we paid out 105, right? That's 100,000 more. In 2010, the unfunded liability of that fund was 151,000. In 2020, I don't know what it is now because the last budget is 2020. In 2020, it was $1.4 million. That's our unfunded liability. That's what we owe. Now, it was $3 million, but because we stopped that program in 2019, everybody gets hired after 2019 no longer gets that money. It went down from $3 million to what it is now, which is, well, in 2020, $1.3 million. So we did some things, brought the liability down. The CalPERS in 2010, and you could go back even before this, but don't want to go back too far. So in 2010, we paid $297,000 for our for CalPERS, right? It's hard to figure out what it is because there's no one line item for it, but when you go back to the audits, it's 547. The unfunded liability of CalPERS is 2.7 million. So we got 1.3, we got 2.7. Health benefits in 2010 were 95,000. Now I think they're about 300,000. All I've ever done is try to address these things, because if things increase like they have increased over the last 10 or 15 years, we won't be a city anymore, okay? We will not be able to afford it. And it's not new growth that everybody blames. We got last month, we had 10 dogs taken in a pound, 10 grand if you read the warrants. So we got to pay for dog catching, dispatch, blah, blah, blah. All of the costs are going up. And what I would like to have seen in this budget was a little bit more addressing on what we're going to do to either pre-fund these unfunded liabilities or something like that. There's one other thing on that. So many notes. But anyway, basically, the salary schedule was the other one. Salary schedule, we're way higher than Jackson. Why are we paying more? And it's not about people, because they'll go, oh, no, he's just saying bad things about me. First of all, nobody was here when this started. So it's not about, you or anyone here, but it's like, we shouldn't be paying more in the city of Jackson, and it's significant. And I've already put these in my other questions. We've got raises in there for some people, not for others. I wanted the council to get a raise. I'm going to say it. I wanted the council to get $500 a month, because we get nothing. And it's not about me. I'm off the council next year, so I could care less. All the other cities, they get their medical paid for, which is about 20 grand. You could pay the whole council here what I suggested for $30,000, which is what you pay the city clerk. If the city clerk's going to get a raise, the council should get a raise. So I'm not happy with the salary schedule. I'm not happy with, there's no addressing any of these liabilities that are out there, because one day, you're going to have to pay them. And interfund loans, that's my final thing. So everyone blamed the council for the last 10 years for all these interfund loans, which is what I spent hours and hours researching. So in 2012, the council had a resolution to pay back the $3.5 million. And I believe it was more than $3.5 million. But they had a resolution to pay off the $3.5 million in 10 years. So that's $350,000 a year, right? But nobody did it. It didn't happen. And then around 2020 or 2021, the council, caught that, and we started a new repayment plan, and it was 108. So now that's like 25 years to pay it off. And most of it that has been kept to. But there's no point in the council making policy and then the staff just doesn't do it. And it's not this staff are doing it. But what happened this year is in the budget is some of the funds can't pay back their loan because they don't have any cash money in there to pay back. And so in the budget, they say, well, we'll just pay $75,000 back instead of 108. And I think we should be paying 108 because the idea is to get the $2.9 million down to zero as soon as possible. And so I'd like to see that back on there. So those are my comments. I think Andrea's doing a really good job, just so you know. I don't agree with, some of the things that happen, like, it would have been nicer to get a little bit more input on the budget on like, what are your priorities, council? What do you want to do this year? And then we build a budget around it. Like if you want to do parks or you want to take in the sewer. That's one of the topics that you hear is they want to take in the laterals. That's going to cost some money, but if that's what the council wants to do, then we build a budget around what the council goals are. But the council pretty much doesn't get asked what they want. This is the budget. If you ask them questions, they get responded to, which is great. But I don't support the budget. I don't support the salary schedule. That's where I'm at with it.
So I have a couple items on the interfund loans. If you want us to go back farther, the documentation that I've looked at is from 2021, 22 forward. It's always been the same. The accounts that can't pay back, there's no cash to pay the loan with. So how do you pay it?
Because you don't, first of all, I don't want to argue with you. And I'm done asking questions
I'm saying,
because I've asked a lot and I don't need to ask anymore.
and they haven't been paid since 2020, since that 20.
But you don't have to pay every fund. What you're trying to do is pay some more in another fund that you do have the cash. That would have been what I would have said to you if I'd have been asked. I would have said, okay, this fund doesn't have any money, so this other fund can pay double because it's 100.
The 108, not that you want.
Which is what it was, because we could pay 108 in one fund.
Right.
We don't have to pay the 5 or 6 funds. We could just pay one. And that was discussed as well.
That makes sense. And my comment to that would be, this was brought in July and August for these very conversations. That's why we did the budget workshops, for these very conversations, to give direction. So when we got here, we'd be all fleshed through it.
Yeah, but the first time we, like I said, I'll make the first time we sold the 75,000 was like Friday.
Well, we just discovered clear back in 21, 22, they haven't been paid because there's no funds in it.
Right.
So every year, those years have only paid that much.
Again, I'm not here to argue. I made my points. I've drawn attention to it. I'm concerned about CalPERS. I'm concerned about OPEB. I'm concerned about, we have departments that are getting increased, but they're not revenue generating departments. Those are my concerns. And so I will now be quiet.
And then the CalPERS, that's a bigger conversation. That's not me.
Absolutely, but we don't even have a conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't even come up. You know, I spoke last year when George got here, 18 months ago on, whatever, it seems like longer, George. So there's ways to fund, you know, OPEB and CalPERS and things like that. Yes, you do have to talk about it. You have to meet with the staff, blah, 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 blah. But there's ways to do it, but we don't even have the conversation. You know, and what the state does is they charge you 4% for the OPEB. That's how they're going to fund their OPEB. So they got a 20-year plan. It'll be fully funded. If the employees pay 4% and the city pays 4%, then it'll be fully funded in 20 years. So I'm just saying, we don't even have the conversation. It's like every year our insurance gets bigger, our CalPERS gets bigger, our OPEB gets bigger, as we don't have an unfunded liability fund. So therefore it gets bigger because now we're paying interest on it. And
You pay it ahead every July to
in the
save that
CalPERS one,
3%.
in the
To
CalPERS.
save that 3%.
But anyway, I do appreciate the hard work you've done. You've done a great job. I just don't agree with a budget, but you've done a really good job. So I wish that you were in charge in 2024 so that we could have spent the ARPA money appropriately instead of running out the clock. And now here we are almost in 2026. And 10 months ago, we had a deadline. You
And
know,
that's mostly, I have to say, that credit goes to Debbie for doing the grant. We never had a grant
Thank you,
coordinator
Debbie.
who was just in charge of the back end of the grant.
and the council was told, we're good, like, you know, like Ms. Ratton said, we're good, you don't need to spend it, you're good, blah, blah, blah. And so we just took advice from staff and thought we were good. And then someone puts their eyes on it. And when I actually read in the workshop, you know, the rules of our, I don't
that's
think,
why we
hold on a
included
second. I don't think the dog park, which was one of the things I supported, I don't think that's eligible. So, but I wasn't on the committee, and, you know, you assume that the finance department and the city manager were, when they were doing that, did follow the rules. But it looks like,
Yeah,
and
and
they were complicated. I'm not thrashing on the city manager back then, George, not you. It was a work in progress, the whole ARPA thing. They kept changing the rules. Every 3 months, there was a new rule coming out. And so I understand how you can make mistakes.
well, and with the ARPA, so you guys did do the loans, I think 60,000 and then another 55 from the city we kicked in. So those would be qualifying. So we have those for the small business loans that you guys kicked in, the extra money.
Those
Yeah,
were-
so that was one community thing. Right, but then the city ran out of those funds and they did an additional, I think, 55,000. Well, those are eligible, so those will be in the allocations.
I'd like to make a comment that one thing I've noticed that we have a tendency is that we always refer back to the past, what's happened in the past, and what happened wrong. And we can attribute a lot of that obviously to the turnover of staff. I mean, that's the biggest problem by far, what causes it. I think it's time to start looking more positive and start forward looking instead of always going back to the negative part of before. Let's start to look at this as a positive thing. We got good staff. We know we have a budget. Whether you agree with it or not, I respect Dom's opinion. But it's time to start looking positive. We're doing a lot of positive things here. I'd like to get George's opinion on what he thinks.
I do believe that Councilman Atlan has many valid points. My personal opinion is that the city, for the past many, many years, have not focused on generating more sales tax revenues. We have a revenue problem, not an expense problem. Right now, we have the biggest population in Amador County by far, and it's continuing to grow. But our revenues haven't kept up with what we need. So the city of Ione has a lot of assets, but we've never been able to monetize those assets. I think a lot of the plans going forward that the staff has worked extremely hard on will capitalize on the assets that Ione has and monetize them. It's very, very important to monetize these assets. And that's what I think a lot of the plans involved. So again, right now, the city of Ione has the largest population, but yet we have the lowest sales tax of the entire county. So again, a lot of focus has been on residential growth, but not enough attention has been paid to how to monetize the assets and grow revenues. And that's what we are acutely focused on, is how to monetize all the assets of the city. And that's what we plan to do. Good. So.
Any other questions,
you,
comments from
George.
council?
Well, yes. I respectfully disagree. We've known we have a revenue problem for years. It's not new. We had it last year, the year before, and the year before. And we disbanded our Economic Development Committee. We have the projects that we've put into place in the last year. None are revenue generating. We've spent a lot of money on things that are not revenue generating. So hopefully in the future that changes. I am not on board with approving this budget only because there were so many items that did not come to council that jumped outside of the budget.
Are you talking about 24, 25? That comes to you on October 21st. This is 25, 26 budget.
I can't approve a 25, 26 if I haven't approved the 24, 25.
So you never have, when you create, so when this budget should have been completed in July, you're not even through your fiscal year of 24, 25. So you'll never have all your revenues.
Oh, I understand that. I understand invoices and fiscal year ends. I do it all day long.
Okay, so 24,
but
25.
You're asking us to approve a budget with funds that are unallocated.
I'm not sure what you mean by unallocated.
The ARPA funds are unallocated.
Well, they're allocated. I'm asking to reallocate them.
But they're still unallocated. That has not come to us.
Correct, which is 24, 25, which it'll be all in the 24, 25 budget.
I'm just not going to ask any questions. Okay, you guys can just move to your vote. Okay.
Any other comments? Council? All right, we'll open it up
Don't
to
deal
public
with
comment.
that directly. We deal with the city manager.
Any public comment? Got anyone on Zoom, Janice? Nope. All right, well, we'll close public comment. Would someone like to entertain a motion?
Oh, we're going to have a secret powwow first.
Well, make a motion, Jody, come on.
So I want to make a motion.
Let's go.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution number 2025-35 to approve the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating budget.
May I
Do I have
say
a
one
second?
thing that, sorry, may I interrupt? I'm sorry. I meant to mention on Dominic's comment for the 108, we'll have to usually do a mid-year budget adjustment. That's something that we can look at for that mid-year budget adjustment of making the 108 full payments for interfund loans.
You don't have to accommodate me. I
No,
appreciate
I'm
it.
just
but you
saying
don't have to.
that's a way to do it, since it's not in this one.
Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Ayes have it.
I make your recommendation that we put table 7 till the next meeting, because it's kind of late.
Well, and there's no staff report. There's no information provided as requested. So again, it was another item that 2 council members recommended it be put on the agenda, and it was not properly. So
So I got a motion to table it till the next meeting.
I second.
First and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to reports and communications from city attorney.
Just a prior reportable action from closed session that the city filed litigation pertaining to the prior horse arena management agreement between the city and J. Boulden West. And the vote on that was 3-1 with Councilmember Atland dissenting.
Sorry.
Yep.
So now we're announcing prior votes out?
The lawsuit was filed, so we have to report out.
Are we going to go back for the entire year on all the lawsuits or just mine?
This is communications from the attorney.
Because we have other
Do
lawsuits.
you have anything else?
Nope.
Legal? All right. Okay, reports and communications from city manager.
A few things, the pickleball courts are completed, and we'll be having a ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow at 5. The public is welcome, and it seems like the courts are already being put to good use. The Picnic Hill turf replacement project continues to move forward. The good piece of news is that I am pleased to report that the city has closed on the purchase of the future home of the Ione Police Department on 217 Jackson Street. I want to sincerely thank Mr. Josh Hansen, the seller, who was gracious in working with the city in our financing endeavor to help close this transaction. With his help, the city was able to assume the original deeded note of $677,000 at an interest rate of 2%, and carrying the remaining amount due of $53,000 at 7%. So in all, the city will save close to $900,000 for the purchase of the future home of the Ione PD. And we will be able to pay off this note in 13 years. So a big thank you to Mr. Hansen. That's it.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to council comments and committee reports, future agenda items. We'll start with Dominic.
Okay, so I want to address some things from public comment. Some things that were not true that were stated, and the council, even though we disagree, we've been getting along pretty good on the wastewater stuff. But here's a couple. There was many said earlier today, but I'm just going to give you two or three. Okay. So somebody said, I'm not going to mention the name, that the report we got was a year and a half old. It was July of 2025. It was like 1 month old. That was what we were given by the wastewater operator. But that report mirrored 4 years of reports. So that was not true. Also, somebody else said that Lafayette, Atland, and Ratton voted to take CDCR's water last year. We did not vote to take CDCR's water last year. That is not true. CDCR and ARSA, in their settlement, because they had a lawsuit, worked it out, and they didn't even tell Ione how they were going to send the water down. So nobody knew about that, but I've heard from other people about all the mistruths on that one. So that's also not true. The other thing is, for 5 or 6 years, we've been told about the VOCs showing up in the groundwater, and the VOCs haven't shown up. And now it's switched over to coliform or something else. Rich Gonzalez over here, really feel bad for you that you're ill. I sincerely mean that. But your own doctor says you got sick from drinking the water, don't drink the water. And guess what? Nobody drinks the golf course water. That's not what we drink. We drink Amador water, HC water, which comes from the McKellamie River, and it doesn't come from wells. Yes, there's people on the wells, but I'm just talking specifically about the comment that was just made. And there are more, but like I say, we're trying to get along. It's a tricky situation. If things are contaminated, then of course I'm going to vote no. But when I see results from a lab, because I'm not a wastewater expert or a designer or build wastewater plants or anything, but when I get lab results from an independent lab, which everybody gets, and it says 0, then I vote accordingly. If it said 10 million, I would vote accordingly. So I just heard that there's other reports out there somewhere that we're going to get soon. Great. I can't wait to see those. I'd love to see the 2018 well test results that were done. I'd love to see those. But yeah, I vote on the information given to me. That's all I can do. And I can't, no matter how smart people are, like Jim Scully, he's very smart. No matter how smart he is, I can't take his word for it because he's not an engineer. He's not a lab or whatever. He has his opinion and he's knowledgeable on some things. I'll give him that. But I can't, put the city in a lawsuit because a couple of guys are really mad at CDCR. Okay, I just can't do that. And so I don't. And I'm happy to always explain my vote to anyone who ever took 2 seconds to ask me. You'd regret it because I talk too much, but you want to know why I voted the way I voted? I'm happy to tell you. I have a reason, and sometimes I make a mistake. Like I made a mistake, ARPA funds. Looks like I voted to approve what the committee sent up, and some of those things weren't eligible. So here I go. I'm admitting I made a mistake. So anyway, I appreciate everyone coming in here, and I'd like to see these council meetings be better. I got a year left, so I just want to see. Not everyone's going to agree. Of course we're not, but we need to do a better job of getting along. We can fight outside a council meeting, but we don't need to fight here. So I'd like to see things run a little bit better and people staying on topic. Thank you.
Councilmember LaFane? Nothing? Mr. Mitchell?
Would like to thank Deborah Mackey for doing all she's doing with the ARPA and the grants. I walked into her office on something totally unrelated and saw stacks and stacks and stacks. I don't know how long we went without someone that pursued grants and went after the money and tried to figure things out. You really ran into a hornet's nest, and I really appreciate you working with the other city staff members. And I know you're not solo on that, Andrea. I'm not ignoring you or Jane or anyone else, but I thank the entire city staff. Ken Mackey, on the other hand, was named Mason of the Year recently. I'd like to congratulate you publicly on that well-deserved honor. On the 18th, Oktoberfest Rotary of Ione is holding Oktoberfest at Evelyn Bishop. $50 per person, Oktoberfest meal by Chef Andy's Crossover Kitchen. Rotary of Ione has done plenty. I think, from the parking lot out at Howard Park to the lights, this money that they raise stays local for different projects for our city. And I'd sure love to see you guys there. And instead of having to deal with me at city council, maybe we can have a good time and have dinner together and celebrate each other. So, I'm glad the votes are coming out on what we voted on. As explained, I know that CDCR is contaminated. I've seen reports. It gets dissected differently for different folks. CDCR, as most know, had a lawsuit that was settled for millions of dollars, have 8 years to complete repairs, admitted that they were cross-contaminated in their systems. When it leaves and gets treated, I don't know. But I have seen reports from the RWQCB that specifically say a risk to public health. And one of the main things for me that you will find is I am not going to put my family or any of you in danger based on what I'm seeing and knowing what I know.
Vice Mayor Maydad.
Yes, I've got a couple of things I'd like to discuss. I'd like to sincerely thank Patrice Prest. She's been absolutely fantastic and working very hard for the people at Castle Oaks and for the city on this landscape. And she's been invaluable for this. And Janice for all of her patience and hard work and just being a steady force for us. And so easy to work with. I'd like to thank Mr. Hanson also. I think he deserves a good recognition on this. Pickleball. I was out there yesterday checking it out. There was over 24 people out there playing pickleball and waiting for to play pickleball. I'd like to kind of visit before we go through a couple of weeks of discussing softball online. I'd like to to make a comment, but I'd also like to ask George a couple of questions because some things that are being posted, I'm gonna quote these, that some are saying the city is stopping and impeding progress on girls softball. Any truth to this?
These are supposed to be future agenda items.
He's
I can
making
say
a
whatever I
comment.
want when it's my turn.
The council comments on future.
Let me ask you a
Making
question.
comment, a question.
Do I interrupt you? Always, okay. Anyway, I'll continue. I can ask him these questions because I can't ask him these questions. I don't have to explain myself to you. Some are saying the city is stopping impeding progress. We need to address this. And also, I have one here that former Vice Mayor Ratton says that Accra has $100K in developer fees that are for girls softball. So I want that coming from give us your take on that because I question both of those statements.
I know the city of Iona or the staff is not prohibiting in any way, shape, or form softball from proceeding. A few months ago, the council gave me direction to make softball and put it at the top of the CIP, which we did. With respect to the former city council member saying that Accra has $100,000 earmarked for softball, that is not accurate. I did talk to Glenn Spitzer today. And I think the funds that were spoken for by the various cities were pre-2020. Those were already allocated. So that's one of the reasons why they had to get that money out. And when we had that staff meeting with all the other city managers, that's what was discussed. So I think in terms of my conversation with Mr. Spitzer today, the control of the money has now gone back out to the county. So from what he told me, right now they have about 550,000 under their control. So my suggestion to softball is again, lobby the council. With respect to the master plan is completed. So a young lady from softball did pay me a visit a couple of weeks ago, and she asked me what she should do to move the project forward. I advised her now that they have some dimensions for the master plan to hire an engineer to get some engineered drawings. That's the first thing they have to do is hire an engineer to get some plans together. Once they get plans together, they can have fundraising events. They can go to the Parks and Rec. They can come to the council and ask for funds. But without anything concrete, they can't really do anything. They can't ask for anything. So the first thing that I advised the young lady to do is get an engineer on board to get some engineered drawings of the softball fields. Once they have that, they can do many things. They can go to the Parks and Rec. They can have fundraisers. They can come to the council and ask for funds. But without that, you really don't have anything to ask for. So again, I've given them specific recommendations, and I'll give them more if they ask.
Could we put this on an agenda item?
I'm not finished. I'm not finished.
Thank you for the point of order.
You can go home. This isn't very important. Everybody wants to know about softball, then I'm going to tell them about softball right now. Councilmember LaFane.
Josh?
It was just can't have too much discussion on it.
I understand. I understand that. Okay, so I just want to mention the girls softball that we're all for this. So let's get moving forward. Let's get together, bring your ideas of what you're planning or plan to do. I feel this is a good starting point as of tonight. That's why I brought this up. Once you've decided on ideas, and you can take all the plans and research to the next Parks and Rec meeting. After you propose your plans to Park and Rec, they can bring it to the council. They can bring it to us for consideration and approval. So I encourage them to do that. So I make a motion to adjourn.
I want to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry, Stacy.
I told you I'm to second that. We finally unanimously agree.
Mine's real quick. I just have two things.
Already done that 3 times.
I got two things real quick. The Creek Committee is doing an excellent job. Pine Grove Camp's been, as you all know, cleaning the creek. We're now physically in there, pushing the banks back up. Amended the permit to do everything we need to do correctly. The second thing was there was a really cool event out at Evelyn Bishop Hall. It was a speakeasy with the Amador County Sheriff Foundation. I've been going out to Evelyn Bishop Hall probably since I was born, hundreds of events. This is probably the coolest one I've ever seen. It literally looked like you were walking into an old bar in the 20s. So that was really cool. And they brought us up many times, said how great the city of Ione is. They love being down here and working with us. So they're going to do something for us on Evelyn Bishop Hall. They're going to donate something really cool, I heard. So anyhow, with that said, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
On favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Aye.
Thank you for your patience tonight, folks.
Yeah, I do. What's that?
I can't stand that woman. You're fucking.